Welcome to our English news edition coming to you from Canal, Algérie. To the headlines. The President of the Republic, Abdelmajid Tebboune, chairs a meeting of the High Council for Energy dedicated to the energy sector and the prospects for its development. The President of the Republic receives the Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of Foreign Affairs of Slovenia, Tanja Fajon. The first conference of civil society kicks off in Algiers to assess the activity of the National Observatory and its important role. On the second day of his visit to the 4th Military Region, Army General Chief of Staff of the National People's Army, Said Shingreha, supervises the tactical exercise SR2 in the operational sector of Ain Amenas. A large-scale distribution operation of 120,000 housing units of all types takes place across the country to mark the 68th anniversary of the outbreak of the National Revolution. Good evening, those are today's top stories. First in our news, the President of the Republic, Abdelmajid Tebboune, presided over a meeting of the High Council for Energy dedicated to the examination of questions relating to energy as well as the prospects for developing this sector. The President of the Republic, Abdelmajid Tebboune, received the Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of Foreign Affairs of Slovenia, Tanja Fajon. The audience took place at the Presidency of the Republic in the presence of the Minister of Foreign Affairs and National Community Abroad, Ramtala Mamra, the Principal Private Secretary of the Presidency, Abdelaziz Khalaf, as well as the Energy Minister, Mohammed Arqab. Following the audience, the Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of Foreign Affairs of Slovenia made this following statement.
Both ministers that accompanied us today, we are, in the name of Slovenian government, two ministers together in Algeria for accompanying two important companies, Sonatrach and Geoplin, with signing the agreement for energy supplies for Slovenia. I'm very glad to be today here, and it's an important day for Slovenia. It's a historic day to really get energy supplies to our country. So I commend both companies, Sonatrach and Geoplin, to work effectively together in our future. I think this is an important step to strengthen our cooperation. With the President, we talked about how good traditionally our cooperation between our two countries, Slovenia and Algeria. We are intensifying not only economic, also political cooperation. We recently signed an economic agreement between two countries. There is a lot of potential for additional investments, for business cooperation, cooperation on energy market, on renewables. And we are seriously thinking to preparing the ground to open embassy in Algeria and really work hand in hand with your country. So I'm very grateful today to Algeria. In the name of Slovenia, I can say to both ministers, we are looking forward to excellent cooperation in the future on all fields, and this is only the beginning of many new opportunities.
The Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of Foreign Affairs of Slovenia, Tanja Fajon, met with the Minister of Foreign Affairs and National Community Abroad, Ramtala Mamra. The discussions were then extended to include the delegations of both countries. In a related activity, the national oil and gas company Sonatrach signed a contract for the sale of natural gas with the Slovenian company Geoplin. It concerns supplying Slovenia with natural gas via the pipeline linking Algeria to Italy for a period of 3 years starting from January of 2023. The signing ceremony took place at the headquarters of the Sonat Khak in the presence of the Minister of Foreign Affairs and National Community Abroad Ramdallah Mamra, the Energy Minister Mohamed Arqab, the Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of Foreign Affairs of Slovenia, Tanja Fajon, as well as the Slovenian Minister of Infrastructure, Bojan Kumer. The Foreign Affairs Minister Ramdallah Mamra held talks with the chairman of the High Security and Development Panel in the Sahel, Mahamadou Issoufou, now on a working visit to Algeria. The meeting centered on reviewing the challenges facing the region and the adequate solutions to settle them. It was a good opportunity to highlight Algeria's key role in terms of security, cooperation, fighting the terrorist threats, and economic cooperation. The 2023 Finance Draft Bill was debated by the National People's Assembly. The proceedings of Tuesday's plenary session are reported by Melissa Kobash.
Algeria has worked out a new medium and long-term development strategy through the new economic and financial policies, with the aim of preserving the financial balance of the state, which was at the heart of the debate held by the National People's Assembly alongside the 2023 finance law. The Finance Minister Jamal Kastali affirmed that the project was elaborated on the basis of the provisional reference price of oil barrel amounting to $60 for the period of 2023-2025, with an average growth rate of 4.1% in 2023 and 4.4% in 2024, and a level of inflation of 5.1% in 2023, 4.5% in 2024, and 4% in 2025. The 2023 finance law, all I can tell is that the project was well studied. The main points to indicate are the reduction of tax rate, the support in purchasing power, and the increase in wages alongside the importation of vehicles. There are many features in the 2023 finance law. The most important to me are the change of policy and the preparation of the finance bill, currently based on the results, and the budgetary package that was granted to this project amounting to $98 billion, which will allow the development of various sectors. The 2023 finance law includes the increase in total budget revenues to $7,901.9 billion and $13,786.8 billion in expenditure. The budget deficit will also increase from $4,092.3 billion in 2022 to an average deficit of $5,720 billion in the period of 2023-2025. As for the export bill of goods, it should reach by 2023 an amount of $46.3 billion as against $44.4 billion according to the 2022 supplementary finance law expectations.
In other news, and under the high patronage of the President of the Republic, the National Civil Society Conference opened in Algiers with the presence of Prime Minister Ayman bin Abdurrahman and other senior officials to tackle a set of issues related to citizenship as part of the ongoing edification process of a new Algeria. Melissa Kobash once again.
Under the high patronage of the President of the Republic, the First National Civil Society Conference kicked off on Tuesday in the presence of Prime Minister Ayman bin Abdurrahman and other senior officials, notably the Speaker of the National People's Assembly, Ibrahim Boughali, members of the government, members of the two chambers of Parliament, the advisor of the President in charge of Memory and National Archives, Abdelmajid Sheikh, local officials, as well as 700 representatives of national and local associations, organizations, unions, and our national community established abroad. The principles of citizens active in the society will be at the heart of the debates carried in this event. In his keynote speech, the Prime Minister affirmed that these conferences are an occasion to evaluate the activities of the National Observatory of the Civil Society, highlighting its pivotal role in settling the crisis and ensuring the economic revival.
هذا المكسب الهام لبلادنا يعد بمثابة لبنة أخرى.
The National Observatory of the Civil Society is very important for our country. It is considered as a milestone in implementing the vision of the President of the Republic related to the role and place of civil society within the framework of the reform project, which one of its main axes is to make the civil society a key actor likely to assume responsibility in the public sector. It represents the 8th commitment of the program of the President of the Republic, which reflected firstly by the concrete analysis of society and the presentation of guidelines and proposals able to take care of the citizens' concerns. Secondly, the contribution and the promotion of national values, democratic practice and citizenship. Thirdly, the contribution to the achievement of national development. The creation of a civil society observatory is part of a global approach enshrined by the Constitution of November 1st, 2020, with an aim to preserve and reinforce the rights and freedoms of democratic action in general. Ayman bin Abdurrahman also recalled the importance of civil diplomacy in that of our national community settled abroad.
أنوه بشكل خاص بمسعاكم لتفعيل مساهمة أبناء جاليتنا الوطنية بالخارج.
I would like to thank in particular the members of the national community established abroad for their active participation in the national development efforts and their presence here today with us, with the aim of putting into concrete form the civil humanitarian diplomacy, which is complementary to the official diplomacy for the protection of national interest and that of our community living abroad. Several workshops in several fields will be organized so as to promote the role of civil society and exchange ideas and experiences among participants.
His visit to the 4th Military Region Army General Chief of Staff of the National People's Army, Said Chingreha, supervised at the operational sector of Ain Aminas the execution of a sectoral tactical exercise with live ammunition. The details with Ines Kello.
On this occasion, the Army General Said Chingreha, Chief of Staff of the Armed Forces, accompanied by Major General Omar Tlemceni, Commander of the 4th Military Region, followed the presentation by the Major General of the Northeast Operational Sector in Ain Aminas on the general idea of the exercise and the stages of its development. At the operational area firing range, the Army General closely followed the combat actions carried out by the land, air defense units of the involved territory. These actions, which were characterized during all phases by a high level of professionalism and tactical and operational level, emphasized once again the rigor in the accomplishment of the actions, both in terms of planning and execution, and reflect the competences of the executives in setting up and conducting of various operations, as well as the know-how and mastery by the personnel of the various weapon systems and equipment made available, thus contributing to the achievement of the objectives set.
وفي مختلف المراحل وهو جاهز على الدوام فيها من التقدم الوطني مفهوم يتطور باستمرار. قيادة الميدان، نحسن اختيار الزمان والمكان. شهداؤنا وأبناؤنا قولوا لهم نحن لا ننكت القسم. وبواسطة نيران مدافع العربات تقدمهم نحو الهجوم.
This tactical exercise, carried out with live ammunition, aims to test the combat readiness at the sector's units, including the refueling system deployed in the field, to train unit commanders and staff in the conduct of operations and to develop their knowledge of planning, preparation, organization, and execution while putting them in real combat conditions.
وما تزود بأشياء وقضايا تصرفية مضادة للنفذات. ويظل حبك الأمين وفي أماكن أصهار وفيها هنا وليعلم أي معتد أننا في كنيسة فكل من يبغي اعوجاجها رجمنا.
At the end of the exercise, the Army General congratulated the personnel of the units for their efforts made during the preparation and the execution of this tactical exercise with live ammunition, which was crowned with very satisfactory results, as it was accurately executed with different weapons and amid a perfect coordination between the various weapons and the forces concerned. The Army General urged all the personnel to take advantage of these positive results obtained so as to further increase the operational capacities of the Battle Corps at the level of this particularly sensitive sector and of the National People's Army in general. At the end, the Army General inspected the units of the Northeast Operational Sector in Ain Aminas, as well as the units and detachments participating in this exercise.
In another development, and on the occasion of the 68th anniversary of the outbreak of the National Revolution, a large-scale distribution operation of 120,000 housing units of all types kicked off on Tuesday. This operation comes in the wake of a thorough inspection carried out by an ad hoc commission to ensure the compliance with the required standards, according to the Housing Minister Tariq Blaribi. 120,000 housing units of all types were allocated. On this occasion, ceremonies for handing over keys and acquisition certificates were also organized across the national territory. Najah Tayyar tells us more.
Thousands of housing units of all types have been distributed throughout the national territory. Ceremonies for handing over keys and acquisition certificates were organized across the four corners of the country. Heading north, where no less than 1,770 apartments were distributed at the level of Media province. In the west, 1,523 houses have been allocated as part of this operation in Tiaret province to the beneficiaries. That's the new Algeria. This is a successful operation. I thank all those who contributed to make our dream come true. I benefited from AADL accommodation. I am very happy. I would like to thank the authorities for the efforts made. Equal joy, same atmosphere in the east of the country, where 1,681 housing units of all types have been allocated in Stif province. The southern provinces were also concerned by this large-scale operation. No less than 1,925 accommodations have been distributed in several provinces, same as here in Tamanrasset. I am so happy. I want to thank the President of the Republic for all he does for us. We waited for too long. Now, thank God, we got our apartment and we are very happy. According to the Housing Minister, the objective is the distribution of 420,000 housing units throughout the national territory by the end of 2022.
The 34th anniversary of proclaiming the Palestinian state coincides with the signing of the Algiers Declaration by the Palestinian factions, an equally important event hosted by Algiers in the presence of the late President Yasser Arafat. Najah Tayyar once again.
On November 15, 1988, the world witnessed the historical speech of the late Palestinian President Yasser Arafat, which included his proclamation of the independent State of Palestine establishment amidst of the first uprising or intifada. Since then, 34 years passed, yet this historical proclamation is still engraved in the minds and hearts. Then we used to listen to the news on the only radio channel Monte Carlo that used to bring international news. At that time, we used to participate at the Intifada. I held my radio up so that the people hear that glorious proclamation from the great Algeria that hosted the historical day, that day of independence and state establishment. The Independence Proclamation laid the foundation stone of the identity and the characteristics of the Palestinian state that is taking a concrete form today by the recognition of the Palestinian state by around 188 countries members in the United Nations. We have a natural, legal and historical right of the Palestinian land. We ask the whole world to be by our side, especially the United Nations, by implementing the international law and the people's self-determination right. In the Palace of Nations here in Algiers, the proclamation took place, and the same venue hosted the Inter-Palestinian Reconciliation Agreement, offering a clear roadmap for the Palestinian factions to keep on the way of the independence despite the ongoing atrocities of the Zionist occupation.
And we wrap up our today's news edition with sports. The Algerian Cup contest draw held on Tuesday in Algiers put Mouloudia of Algiers with NC Magra, while ES Sharif will take on Hilal Shilghom Al Eid in a hot derby, whereas CR Belouizdad is to face MC Al Ulma. And with that, our today's news edition comes to a close. Thank you for tuning in and goodbye.